Here's a new one by Phil McCrackin. This one's called The Engineer's Blunder. And it's going out to the guy that messed up on this mix board big time. On Super Country, 1130.
Out on the range, where the wild winds blow, there was a dream in the making, a project to show. We'd count on the plans that were drawn up so fine, but little did we know it would all fall in line. Oh, the engineer's blunder, it brought us to tears.
It's back. Not that there's anything wrong with it. You remember I had this in, a month or so ago? Had to replace the output transistors and a resistor. And we discovered that because it was in an AM radio station, that the engineers made it mono. And the guy that owns it wants it made stereo. So we're going to have to study the technical manual, see if we can figure out what they did to make it mono and reverse it. If we look at the print, we will see, I'm not worried about that. That's the microphone input, and that is mono. Looks to be anyway, or is it stereo? I guess it is mono, because they've got dual controls here, but they're bridged together at the transformers here. But here's the other three inputs. We're only concerned about these three inputs here. And it looks like there's matching transformers here. Left and right, left and right, left and right. And it goes into the controls. I'm thinking it's somewhere in this botched wires where they were all twisted together here that we saw before. You see this? You see? Like this was just hanging in there. Engineers made a mess of this. And I got to figure out what they've done and undo it. Look at this, even down in where the microphones are, they've got, it's just stuff that, like, this was done by broadcast engineers when this was active in a radio station. Scotch tape? Really? I mean, it's like, give me a break. Give me a break. These are supposedly professional engineers, and they're sticking stuff together with Scotch tape onto the controls. Yeah. That's what I got to contend with. My better judgment is telling me I should just tell the guy, sorry, I'm not dealing with this crap. I have no idea what the engineers did to bridge the inputs to mono. Obviously they bridged them somewhere, but look at this. Like, there's just wires disconnected, just lying. There's just hanging out here. That's what's under that board. There's probably some more that are off on this one too. Are these ones off too? Those ones are still connected. But I can see both inputs going into the pots. Or they're both coming up. Both inputs come up separately on the pots, but when I disconnect the output from the pot, I can isolate the left and right, but they're being bridged somewhere between here and there. I've got the schematic for it, but it doesn't tell me where these wires go. It doesn't show any colored wires or what they do. I'm just kind of guessing as to where they go. I think they're part of a balanced transformer and they've converted it to unbalanced, but these wires go down to, I think these go down to the control from here. But it's just such a bodged up mess. I just don't know if I even want to get into it. I'm just opening a can of worms. I can isolate it at the control, but then you got this switch as well, right, for programming Q and stuff. I just don't know what the guys have done. But when I see shoddy work like this with just wires just hanging out there, just, not connected, not taped, just sitting there, it really makes me want to wash my hands of this. I have a policy that I don't work on modified equipment, and this is one of the reasons why I have that policy. I should have told the guy when he called me up, and I told him, hey, somebody's monoed this board, just so you know, right? And so he takes it back after I fix it, pays me to fix the amplifier on it, and then he calls me up. He says, "Yeah, I think I'd like you to put it back to stereo." But the problem is, I don't know what the hell the guy did to make it mono. I'm looking at this shit. You know, it's like, what the hell? He's got wires taped together and cut one wire and put others and then wrapped it up with Scotch tape. I mean, it's just an absolute disaster. Everything, there's nothing that's labeled. I've got the schematic, but the schematic doesn't label anything, right? It's just where they've done it. It's impossible to tell with this mess to see what he's done. What I do know is at the controls itself, if I break the control, the left and the right are separate, so it's prior, it's before it. It's in this area with the transformers. Is where they bridged it, or on these switches, I think. One of the things I've been able to determine as I look at the schematic and look at the way this has been wired, or what I can make of it, is it only appears to be one channel that's been monoed. Now this one here, I'm not getting any output. I'm getting deflection on the right meter only, but I'm only connected to the right channel on input number 3. I'm not hearing anything coming out of the speakers. Where is the other input? I don't see it on the left channel. Oh, there I do. I see it on the left channel there, but I'm not hearing any sound. Why not? Oh, may help if I switch it to program. Okay. I got left channel there, and I got I should have right channel. There it is. And that is coming out of the right channel only. And I go to the other channel. So it's working in stereo on input number 3, which is this one over here. If I go to input number 2, and we'll try the same thing over here, we'll switch it to input 2, which is, they call it channel 5. So that works. It's only when I go over to channel number 1 that I'm hearing it on both channels. So it's only this one that's been rewired for mono. The other two are still wired for stereo. And this is the one that, you know, they've created a mess. The other ones, the wires still appear to be connected on the boards here. And the matching transformers on the bottom, I guess, are going to the appropriate controls. But it's just this one here. I got to figure out what the hell the guy's done. He's got these wires here are going down to, I'm going to make note of what color wires they are and see where they show up on the bottom, because this is what's going down to the control. These wires here appear to be the inputs to the two transformers. They look to be white and green. Maybe that is yellow. They're labeled as yellow and green, and they're supposed to go up to these terminals here on the switchboard. Okay, so if I look at the wiring here, these ones here still have the transformers in place. This one has had the transformer removed, but we can kind of get a look at how they're wired. So I looks like a ground there. I'm trying to figure out what pins are on, because these are not like normal variable resistors. They've got 4 on one side and 2 on the other, so I'm trying to figure out which is the wiper. I think these are the wipers here. And you got hot and ground, or is this the wiper? Gotta figure out which one the wiper is. I think these are the wipers here. Wiper, hot ground, wiper, hot ground. I think that's the way these are set up on these particular pots. So looking at this one, that's an output going into the power amp. That's an output going into the power amp. That wire is even right off there. Those are probably grounds, and the green and the red are the inputs. Is that sound? I'm just looking at the wiring here to see which is going where, but I think that's how they've wired it up. I'm just going to confirm with the meter that this is the wiper. So if I clip one onto the wiper here, and I put the other probe on one of the other terminals. In this case, this is the ground one. I've got 0 ohms. Can you guys see the meter? Probably not. Let me see. I'll show you guys the meter if I can. So I got 0 ohms because it's grounding out, and if I turn it up, it goes up to 10K. And on the other side, now I got 0. Turn it down, it goes down to 10K. So that's our controls. These are our 2 inputs to the amplifier. I don't expect that are they connected together? Let's see if they've been shorted somewhere else. Have they been monoed here? And I'm seeing 70 ohms between them. So maybe they've done it past this 100 ohms. I wonder if they've put a bridge resistor across here to bridge them together, because that should be like, we should have 2 separate channels. We should have left and right. If I plug the amplifier in and give left signal and right signal here from my tone generator, I should have separate channels. I should have independent. So let's do that. Let's power it up. Let's bring the tone generator into play. We'll connect our ground up. And I should have 2 separate channels here, but if they both come out the same channel, then we'll know it's monoed past this. Okay, got power. Why don't I have any? Oh, I got the sound turned down. That's why. He was ready to roll, but little did we know he'd lose control. Check the wires. I see it on the meter. Why am I hearing sound? Bob had a long day. Oh, maybe it might. Oh, Bob dropped the ball. Couldn't catch his break. And I got right channel. So I've got, it's stereo from here. So where they've monoed it is prior to this. We'll just figure out the way they've wired this up. But this ground wire is supposed to be on here. It's been off. I'll put that back on there. We're getting places. We're getting places on this one, and getting this board reconnected as a stereo board. Looks like what they've done is they took out the matching transformers to make it an unbalanced input, only on this one channel. That's interesting. Anyway, we're making some progress to get this old Harris Stereo 5 back to stereo state, which it really was only monoed here. I think the microphones are probably mono too, and that's probably this mess down here. I'm not really too worried about that part. I know the guy says he wants to use it with microphones, but come on, microphones are mono. Right, so they do have stereo pots on them. And it is wired for stereo microphones, or originally it was, but it's been, I think, rewired for mono. Anyway, we're making progress. Slowly but surely, we're making progress figuring out this engineering nightmare. According to my meter, the green and red wires are the ones that are connected together at ground. 0.2 ohms. Can you guys see that? 0.2. Those are grounded together. So those should both be going to the ground terminals on here. But they weren't. Green and red were actually going to the hot terminals. What the heck? And they had yellow and blue, which are the inputs, going to the ground. That don't make any sense, but that appears to be how they had it wired. Because the yellow and blue should go to their respective inputs, which we can test. I'll go to the blue line here. Can you guys see the meter? We'll see if it comes up on one of the inputs here. Is that channel 3? There it is. That's the left input. And then the right input is this one here, which will come up on the yellow wire. And that should come up on that one. So they had it wired backwards. Where did they get their engineer from? Right out of high school? It's like, really? Well, that would explain why things were not working as they were supposed to be. We'll just put these wires back where they belong and see what happens.
In a dusty old studio where the lights shine bright, Bob the broadcast engineer was
You see, that was a red wire before.
with a coffee cup in hand.
My blue wire is going to go to the other input here.
Ready to roll. But little did we know he'd lose control. He checked
I guess I should put some fresh solder on there because that's looking pretty ratty.
But Bob had a long day. The end was near.
And then these other two, they're ground, so they can just go to the ground side. Doesn't matter because they're both connected together. So we'll just put both these on the ground.
Goodness sake, when the news went silent, we all took a fall. It's a hard.
I'll have to ask the guy what. Say, so where'd you get your engineer from at CKWX? Because
In a small town.
he sure as hell didn't seem to know what the hell he was doing. Okay, let's see whether our ground. Let's see if our stereo has returned on the inputs. My tone generator is on. Grounded over here. Channel 3 ground.
With his blueprints in
And power things up. Let's see what happens.
But when the dust settled, it was quite a mess.
Okay. Got the volume turned down. Give it some volume. We have
Turned a simple project into a long wild night.
that is that's the right channel. So I got to reverse these two here. I just got them reversed. I'll just reverse the yellow and the blue, just so that it follows through. Left channel, ground, right channel. We got it. We got it for what it was brought in for. Now, I'm starting to think maybe it wasn't a mono conversion. Maybe it was just a botched. Remove the balancing transformer and someone wired up plots backwards. And just the end result was they ended up with mono because they were putting the inputs in on the ground. And they grounded the hot line. Ridiculous. I don't want to bend these terminals anymore, and I have to. I don't want to break them. Otherwise, I'd have to go and find a new pot for them. Okay. That should do it. We'll test it. Left channel. Right channel. That's that pot. We'll go to the next one. I'll have to move my ground over. Left channel. Right channel. And the third one. Put that one on line. Left channel and the other wires here. Okay. I got stereo. Excellent. That's what we were after, getting stereo back. I have no idea how I'm going to get this nut back on for I had to remove this to check the wiring out, right, to see what the hell was done to it. And of course it's got nuts on the back. I don't know how I'm going to get that one on. It's a 5/16. I don't have a 5/16 nut driver. All I have is a 1/4 inch, which obviously is not going to fit. I had a 5/16. I could put it on the end there and, well, it might be long enough, but I don't. I'll tape the nut to the end of my 1/4 inch drive and get my cordless driver going on here and get that screw spinning and then see if I can just catch it and pull it in. It's best chance I have, right? Able to catch it. I got the screw in there finally. I'll do the same for the other one. I had to take the other one out again just so I could, I might be able to reach this one with pliers, but it might be easier just with the tape trick on this one as well. This is a trick I used to use in the shop all the time when we had screws that just did not want to cooperate. Tape them to the end of the screwdriver so that you could get them in place and then drive the screw in. So get this one here in place. And then hook up the screw and just done. I don't know, maybe other people are doing that. I thought it was a pretty good idea. I've been doing that for 40 years. Okay, got that back in place. I put the bottom cover on it and make sure everything still works, and then get this piece of junk the hell out of here because I have spent way too much time on this thing. This is the second day. I started working on this yesterday. I was ready to throw my hands in the air and give up because looking at all the botched wires, I just try to figure out what the last guy did. But what he did was he converted this input basically from a low impedance 600 ohm input to a high impedance is what he did. These two remain 600 ohms. These ones still have the transformers, the matching transformers are still on these inputs. This one here has had it removed, and that was the confusion when I saw all the wires at the bottom. But then when I found more wires at the top, well, they actually went to these terminals here, left channel, right channel, and then they went down to the control. That was all that it was. We'll look at the schematic and I'll kind of go over how they did it and what we did to restore it. But the big thing was he had the pot wired backwards. That's why I couldn't figure out why I was getting mono. I had two separate inputs, but why was it becoming mono? He had the inputs and outputs reversed. How the thing even worked, that's a good question. But now it's wired correctly. Now it works. You know, I really like to think that somebody working in a broadcast station would be qualified to work on a mixer. I mean, after all, he's working on transmitters and stuff, but seeing this amateur hour bodge job down here makes me question the competency of the guy that was maintaining this board. Okay, let's test it. I have input channel 3, which is this one here. This is the one I fixed. Ground. And where's our sound? Left channel, right channel. Input channel 4 is here. And where's our input for that? Where are we here? Making sure it's in the right mode. And I've got... okay, where's my left channel? Where's my left channel? I've got right channel. No left channel. Okay, I've lost my left channel. Let's go to input number 3. Left channel, right channel. So I've lost my left channel for input number 2. What is going on? Did the wire pull out? I bet it pulled out right here. I bet you that's where the fault is. It pulled out. Yep, I just got to fix that. Crimp connectors. That's another thing that these so-called engineers should know something about. Don't use crimp connectors. I'll tell you guys a story, okay? Broadcast engineering was something that always interested me, and I would have loved to go down that route. But I blame this one entirely on my high school teachers and counselors, because when I was in high school, I didn't take the right kind of math to get into broadcast engineering school. They had me on, they called it trades math. That's great if you want to be a carpenter, so you can measure things and cut things and measure angles. It was not the right kind of math for engineering school. When I finished high school, I actually wanted to go into engineering, but I couldn't get in because I would have had to take another 2 semesters of math prior to getting in. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do 2 more semesters of math so I could wait another year, basically. So I went into broadcast production, television production was the course that I took. And I figured I'd go down that road, get into broadcasting that way, be a cameraman or editor or so forth. And I started that. What's that wire doing just sitting there? Started that path, that career path. And then I didn't end up going down that career path at all. I was working in the industry, and then I got an opportunity to go work for Sony, and I took that opportunity to go work for Sony and went through all of their training stuff and became a consumer electronics diagnostic engineer by trade. Would have loved to have gone down the broadcast side of things. I would have loved to have been maintaining transmitters and so forth. That would have been cool, and audio boards and modulators and cameras and that type of stuff. But again, that was solely on my from grade 10 on, basically. They put me. They said. I mean, I was asked what I was thinking, what I wanted to do, and I said what I wanted to do. And there was a couple choices with math. There was consumer math, which is just like for everyday people, dummy math, we would call that. And then there was. Now, I don't even know what they call it now. I think they call it core. But there was consumer math, which was the easy stuff. And then there was trades math. And that's what they told me to take. They told me to take trades math because engineering is a trade. And, just completely missed it. I needed advanced calculus and all that engineering stuff, which I took it in night school. I took the math courses in night school, but I never bothered to pursue it at that point. I was working, and I was working for Sony, and then I ended up at the service center. And at that point, I'm in the business now. What the hell? So I didn't bother going back and doing engineering. But anyway, you would think that someone who was an engineer would have done a better job than this mess. This was a mess, but we figured it out. With the help of Mr. Schematic. You guys stick around for a bit. We'll go through the schematic, and we'll go through the different steps on here. I'm just going to fix that connector, and then this is done, and I'll get this off the bench, and we can look at the schematic together. For the geeks that want to see what the guy did, well, this is a copy of the schematic, so I guess I can mark this one up because I got the original one here. I had to make my own little cheat sheet, because this was modified, and this is the one here that was modified. These two right here. This is it here. So we're going to ignore the yellow and the green. And the yellow and green, they went to the transformer that's disconnected. We're going to look at the terminals: SE1, SE2, SE3, SE4. I made notes what colors were on which. SE1 had a blue wire. SE2 had a green, and then a yellow and a red. Now, SE1, this is the audio pot, and SE2 is the ground. That's your audio ground. We'll ignore the transformer because the transformer has been removed, as has this one. So, this one was a blue wire. This one was a green wire. The next one down was a yellow wire, and followed by a red wire. Yeah, good color coding. Our pots. It goes over to the pot here. Now, normally your hot would go to here, and that would indicate that would have been a blue wire. But blue wasn't going through to here. No. It had a red wire on it. The first gang. It had a red wire. So that's a ground. So someone had connected the ground over here. I found that connected over to there, like that. And then the blue wire, which is this one, it was going down to the ground on the other side. This one was going down to Yeah, that one was going down over to here, to this ground. The green wire, which is this one, which is actually a ground, it was going to the hot side. So this green wire was actually going to there, and the yellow wire was going to, where was it going to? It was going to the ground on, is it this side? This one had the red wire. It was going to the ground on this side. So it was completely wired backwards. He had the hots and the grounds reversed, so that the both grounded terminals, which were the grounds, were actually going to the hot side of the pot, and the two audio terminals were going to the grounded side, which made it mono, because the hots were basically picking up what was going into the ground. How it wasn't humming, I don't know, but that's how they had it wired. It was completely backwards, and that's what threw me for a while, is why is this thing not working? It wasn't until I pulled the little board out and saw the orders of the wires and matched them up on the schematic as to where they were supposed to go, and then I realized it was supposed to be going through a transformer, and when I looked at what was on the controls, it was backwards. Because these controls are, you've got your, essentially this is the wiper here, right? And this is the resistor. And on this side here, this is the wiper, this is the resistor here, and the wiper here. So that's ground, and that's ground, right? Yellow and blue, yeah. These are the ground wires. And then of course your audio output, this is ground, so your audio goes this way, and the audio from this one here goes to ground. This is your audio hot, and then your inputs would be ground, and then input and input, and they had it ground, and input. How the thing worked, I don't know, but it was working in mono. It's never ceases to amaze me, the stuff I see. This is why I don't like working on equipment that has been modified, because even when you've got the service manual, the schematic for it, just figuring out what someone else has done. The switches on the front, for example, I figured out that they have actually added an extra input. So these switches here select whether you're input 1, input 2 for channel 1, input 3, input 4 for channel 2, and then it has 3 inputs for each. So you can have 2 inputs basically per channel. So you can have your studio mic and a guest mic, or a couple guest mics as well. You can only have one of them on at a time. And on these ones, these are your line inputs, and you can have up to 3 inputs each. So you can have, say, a turntable and a cart machine, but you can have a reel-to-reel and another reel-to-reel and a cassette deck and whatever else you want. As long as you weren't going to try to mix between the two of them, you'd be fine. You can have, that would give you 9 inputs on these 3 controls and 2 inputs on each of these. And the way it's currently wired right now, there's 2 microphone connectors sticking out the back, and they're on input 1 and input 1 for channel 1 and 2, but channel input number 2, the input button number 2, is actually a stereo input from another one on the patch panel that's labeled as input 1/2. So it can, so it's input 1, switch number 2 is I guess what it means when it says input 1/2. That's switch 2 for input number 1 on here. So this one can operate as a stereo control or as a mono control when it's on microphone, and then this one here is set up for mono on the microphone only, and these 3 are stereo outputs. Anyway, interesting unit. So I took a lot of time to figure this one out, and a little bit of a head scratcher because I do a bit of reverse engineering and try to figure out what the last guy did, but figure it out we did, and we got it back the way it's supposed to be. Hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching.